Hey everyone, Clio here and welcome to another reading vlog. So it is today Halloween, but you know, in Belgium really Halloween isn't that big. It is kind of on the rise. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything Halloweenish, but the book that I'm currently reading is a spooky read, and maybe I will put on Night Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas, that's how it's called, right? Nightmare Before Christmas tonight, because I do feel like watching that one, for example. But so I'm currently reading Dark Places by Gilian Flynn. My hope was to finish this today, but it's already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've done 0 reading today. I'm only at the very beginning of this book, so I would need to read more than 300 pages. So I'm not finishing this today. It is being carried over into November. But so Dark Places is a sort of mystery thriller in which we are following a girl who, a woman who as a girl she was the sort of survivor of a family drama. So her mother, her 2 sisters were all killed, father was not part of the family anymore at that point, and she placed the blame on her brother. She identified her brother as being the killer, but so years and decades later, Libby is now being contacted by this group who wants her to show up and wants to kind of convince her of the fact that her brother Ben was not the killer. I have seen this movie at some point, but I don't remember what the movie, I don't remember much about the movie, and so I'm also expecting that's not going to hinder my enjoyment of this book. I am expecting that if there's a twist or whatever in this one, that I'm still going to be surprised by that. I don't typically like murder mysteries because I don't necessarily care all that much about who did it, you know, so I hope that I hope that I'm gonna get the hook into this story, because for example detective stories and such like that really don't interest me at all. So we'll see what happens. I was gifted this book by a friend of mine. I'm very happy for that gift, and I definitely did love the movie Gone Girl a whole lot, for example, and this is this author of the same book. So we'll see what ends up happening. No, I definitely do want to give mystery thriller a little bit more of a try. You know, I haven't read a whole lot of them. I don't like it in movies or books, but sometimes I do. And what also is the case is that sometimes there are certain things I like in movies or in TV shows that I don't like in books, and so perhaps there is also the opposite, that there are certain things I don't like in TV shows that I would like reading about. So we'll see what happens with this one and whether it might kickstart a new journey into mystery or thriller. But so yeah, that was my goal for today, but it's definitely not happening because I've been spending too much time on The Sims. So I started this book on Thursday, and so Thursday and Friday I only read, no, I even started it on Wednesday. So in 3 nights, in the past 3 nights I only read 54 pages in this book because I've been playing The Sims too much. But so yeah, that is definitely not going to be changing because the 13th of November a new expansion pack is coming out, meaning that I'm currently super excited about The Sims and currently want to spend all my time in The Sims. And as of the 13th of November, that's definitely going to increase even more, because then I might have, I haven't decided yet, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be buying The Sims new expansion pack immediately, and I'm not going to be waiting for a sort of sale. So that means that on the 13th of November I'm probably also going to be stuck in another Sims loop, which I will break the moment that Rhythm of War comes out by Sanderson. But so yeah, that is basically my plan for today, is to read this a little bit more, but I will say most likely I'll also be playing The Sims for quite a bit. Now I'm going to go to the grocery store and get some more groceries because I need them for the recipe that I'm making tonight. And then that is going to be it. The restrictions in Belgium have been made even stricter now, because yeah, cases are rising all over Europe again, so also we are restricting our movements and things like that. Personally, I've already been in more or less a lockdown the last 2 weeks. I've only been to the doctor, the pharmacy and the grocery store in the past 2 weeks, so I've already been in quarantine more or less. But so we are not in a full lockdown where the entire society is closed off, but basically non-essential stores are already closed. You know, schools will be closed for 2 weeks rather than the 1 week that they normally head off now. And after that they will decide whether they will go back to homeschooling or whether they will do some sort of other system. So it's more or less, it's close to a full lockdown. is Sunday morning. Our morning actually started off interestingly because the fire alarm went off. Luckily I was already awake, you know, I was actually watching TV at the time that the fire alarm went off, and it was basically my cats who clearly indicated that it wasn't happening in the TV show but that it was happening in real life, because they immediately scattered, one of them under the sofa, the other one on top of the bookcase. So yeah, interesting morning already, you know, spending it outside waiting for them to fix the fire alarm, which was a false alarm luckily, but it's like the third false alarm since I've lived here. There's really one every year, I guess, one false alarm every year, which means that there's also like no hurry anymore when this thing goes off, because everybody's basically assuming for it to be a false alarm. So yeah, that's not really that great neither. But so I have read a little bit more into Dark Places by Gilian Flynn yesterday. So it is the 1st of November, the start of a new reading month, and I didn't finish it. So I got to like page 100 or something of this, so I read some 50 pages, which is definitely not the amount of progress that I want in a reading day, especially not in a weekend reading day. But so I think that I'm going to be switching it out with another one. I'm going to be continuing with this one, but at a slow pace, you know. This is maybe even going to take me the full month, I don't know, to read this, but I definitely don't want it to be my priority read anymore, because I'm just not moving through it at a fast enough pace. And so yeah, I don't know whether that's just me or whether that's basically everybody's experience with this book, but I'm just not compelled through it, you know. If I'm reading a chapter, I'm always like, how much longer is this chapter? And so it's difficult for me to push through multiple chapters as well at the time. You know, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm disliking it, I'm just not enjoying it a whole lot neither, but I'm also just not really in the story yet, in a sense, I guess. I think we're starting to go into the part where she's going to start exploring what happened at the time, and that's where this problem that I just indicated earlier comes in. I'm just really not that interested in what happened. I really don't care all that much about who ended up being the killer, so I hope that it'll pick up when I get further into it. I don't know what's wrong with me that makes it that I just cannot enjoy these types of stories, but yeah, my friends absolutely love this one, found it very disturbing and all of those things, so I do want to read on to figure out like what my reaction is going to be to the twist, in a sense. But on the other hand, I know that I just should be DNFing these types of books, but I have such problems DNFing that it probably still won't happen with this one either. But so yeah, that's just my thoughts here, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm actually also listening to Hard Times by Charles Dickens as I'm playing The Sims today, but I do need to get some editing done. I will hopefully edit the video that's coming up later today, the video that's coming up on Wednesday, and then I need to plan the video for next Sunday, because I don't think I know which video I'm going to be bringing out then. So I want to get a move on those types of things, and maybe already edit what I have so far of this reading vlog, but I really don't have that much yet. But so yeah, just want to make it a little bit more productive so that during the week I don't have to do as much for my channel. Wrapping up this reading vlog. I know it's been a little bit more of a shorter one, so hopefully you guys don't mind. I don't think I updated you guys a lot throughout the week on my reading, and that's probably just because my reading has been a little bit scattered throughout the week. So I've been reading multiple books and haven't really had too many thoughts on the majority of them. But let me just consolidate my thoughts on my reads at this point. So I have my 3 reads here with me at this point. So first off, I started the month with Dark Places by Gilian Flynn, and I'm still like 140 pages into this 400 plus book. Yeah, I'm still not really compelled, though I will say that yesterday evening was like the first time that after finishing a chapter I felt like reading the next one, so hopefully I'm going to get a little bit more momentum throughout this book, but I think I'm definitely going to finish it because I do in some part want to know who did it, but not enough that I'm actually driven through this at a certain speed. So yeah, it hasn't, so far at least, it hasn't been able to convert me to the mystery thriller genre. Next up I have Hard Times by Charles Dickens, which I've been listening to while playing The Sims, and I am about halfway through in that one. I'm really enjoying rereading this one. It's actually a really good Charles Dickens. I only gave it like 2 stars when I first read it, and I think it's just that I didn't really like Charles Dickens' style at that time, and whereas now, having read quite a few Charles Dickens, liking quite a lot of Charles Dickens, I actually like this one a lot better than some of his others, because it is a nice consolidation of his sort of like typical elements without going into that much depth. Like, you know, his usual novels are so much thicker, and that also means that usually there's a sort of repetitiveness to the story, or sort of dragging on the story, whereas the story could be consolidated a little bit more. And with this one, definitely think that the length really works in its advantage. It's also looking at some interesting points, because, you know, a lot of times Charles Dickens' characters can feel really like caricatures of themselves. They're very much extremes, and that can kind of bother people as well. But I do definitely think that Charles Dickens is using these extremes to get at some very valid criticism, and that the criticism can even be like very underlying. In this one, what I'm mainly picking up out of in terms of its like criticism, or what it's talking about, is it's very much kind of talking about capitalism and about the extent that people go to make a living, to earn things, to profit off of others. And you know, it's very much looking at this sort of idea of a prosperous society, and the fact that what makes a prosperous society. So there are a lot of these individuals who obviously look at the monetary value, which is what most people which is what we are most often like looking at when we're looking at a prosperous society. So they're looking at the fact that if you have a society with a total value of this amount of money, then you would call it a prosperous society, right? Whereas there are some other characters, a little bit more of the lower characters in the societal, in the society that we're looking at, who then raise the objection of like, yeah, but who has that money? I cannot tell whether this is a prosperous society or not if I have no information on who owns this money. Is this money divided among everybody in the society, or is it just a few people at the top? And while their remarks are always kind of laughed away, is that like, yeah, you don't understand, what a weird like comment you're making a mistake, you don't understand. But that is definitely like what Dickens is then trying to get at, is the fact that she is not mistaken, and the fact that she is raising some valid concerns here. And so this is kind of the thematic that I'm picking up on most, that is definitely intriguing me the most in this book. But so yeah, very interested with this reread, very much want to continue on with that one and find out what happens later on. And then I also started a reread that I shouldn't have. So this book is not on my November TBR, and I'd actually planned on skipping it. You know, I'm rereading this series in anticipation for the 4th book that comes out at the end of this month, but I wasn't going to read the novella. So I'm talking about Edgedancer by Sanderson. So for those who know this is the novella that comes in between book 2 and 3 within this series. So I reread books 1 and 2 in 2019, and this month I'm going to be rereading Oathbringer in anticipation of Rhythm of War. But this novella, yeah, it's one of my favorites, so I absolutely wanted to reread it. I had initially said that I wasn't going to, because I know this novella well enough. But so in this one we are following one of my main characters in the Stormlight Archive, and that is Lift. You are introduced to Lift in the 2nd book of the Stormlight Archive. You're introduced to her in one of the interludes, and that's basically the only time you're introduced to this character in the book. And that interlude I always consider to be such a fascinating one. I fell in love with this character at that point already, and so I was super happy when I found out that there was a novella for this character. And so this is a novella to be read between book 2 and 3, because it does pick up from the end of book 2, and so it does contain some spoilers for book 2. And in it we kind of fall in Lift, who, as I said, is one of my favorite characters. She's kind of this smart kid, this smart young kid who has had to grow up way faster than is good for her. And she puts on this veneer as if she's only in it for, you know, personal gain or personal enjoyment. She makes a hobby out of stealing rich people's food, and she makes it seem as if that is all to her life. And so already in the interlude, in book 2, we already see that there's a lot more to her and that she definitely feels a lot more than she's letting on. And in this one, we'll definitely explore the richness, the different layers to her personality even more, as well as some of her background story. So definitely wanted to reread this one as well as I'm rereading Stormlight now, because yeah, it's just a favorite of mine, and I must say that I am also flying through it. So yesterday I picked it up right before going to bed. And I did read some 70 pages at that point, so it does have like big print as well, so it is only 260 pages or 270 pages. It's got a large font and it's a page turner, so I'll definitely be through with this one pretty quickly. But so yeah, that's my reading for this week, and I am going to leave you guys for this one and continue reading and see you guys for my next reading vlog. See you guys!